Here is Honeysaver, and this is a 16 one-hand 8-year-old thoroughbred gelding by Super Saver, and he's out of a Mr. Prospector mare, and he's having his second post-track ride. And I'm a huge fan of this horse. He is just so pleasant and kind and genuine, and there's just not a mean bone in his body. And I absolutely adore riding him. I love having him around the farm. He's just a complete delight. And he has an interesting story. He's not really one of the normal types of paths I would take, but I'm super glad I took him anyway because he has not run since October 1st of 2021. He actually only had 11 starts. And then his last one was in October 2021, and he was kept a stud. And he was bred for his connections. He has a few really good looking babies coming along. And then they did decide to get him gelded. So he is firmly gelded now. And he's just ready to rock on to his next phase in life. So this horse could really go do anything. He is so damn chill. It's ridiculous. I could see him fox hunting. I could see him eventing. I could see him in the hunter world. He could just be someone's genuine pleasure horse. He is so ridiculously easygoing and just pleasant to ride. So a few changes from his first ride to this ride is that I am wearing some little spurs, which are very, very helpful. And I also switched him out of a metal snaffle into the Hermspringer Duo D-ring because he's just so soft in his mouth. He's like light as a feather. He wants to be round and make the correct shape, which just makes him so darn pleasant to ride. And, for a horse who's not been ridden in 3 or 4 years, goodness, he is steady and correct in the contact. It's actually kind of ridiculous. And I mean, can you imagine what this horse will look like in 6 months or a year with some regular and consistent riding and training? I mean, he could be cleaning up on the flat because he's just so cute moving and so consistent in the contact. So anyway, God, if all horses could be this easy, what a dream boat. I mean, this job is a dream, don't get me wrong, but this horse makes it exceptionally easy. So the big difference from his first ride to his second ride to me is just how much more settled he came out. And listen, he was amazing for his first ride. I have not a mean thing to say about it. But on this ride, I did not have to get after him hardly at all about his shoulders, no leaning. I mean, just very settled and understanding of his job, which is crazy considering it's just like his second ride in many years. And it literally only took one ride for him to figure out, like, oh, okay, this is what you want me to do. I guess I'll do it, and I'll do it very pleasantly and genuinely. And I mean, you just can't ask for much more than that. So, things about him, he's very even left to right. He wants to pick up his right lead right now. Yeah, that's where we are. So the right lead is his preferred lead. Once you get him in the left lead, it really feels even compared to the right. It's just that for whatever reason right now, the right lead is the lead that he would like to pick up. So you'll see that when we do our canter work. I think I start to the left. He picks up the right lead. So we just change across the diagonal and work the right first. And then we go back and we work on getting the left over some poles. And that works quite brilliantly. In his canter work this time, I sat the canter a fair amount, and he was super good about that. Figured it right out. No issues there. Oh God, this horse is just so cute. I totally get that he is a plain chestnut, right? I don't think there's any white on him, but he is just such a classic, beautiful looking horse, and he has this great head with a kind eye and a big old Roman nose. And I just think he's beautiful. He just came out so settled today, just so understanding of his job. When I watched back his first post-track ride, I thought I had him a little bit over tempo. It just looked a little bit hurried, but I think that was because I was working so hard with him on getting his shoulders straight. He was doing a little bit of leaning out the outside shoulders, especially on the short side by the gate. So I was having to kind of get into him a little bit about, going straight, turning, holding up your shoulders, all that stuff. But today we didn't have to get into any of that because he just came out understanding what the expectation was. So we could just ride a much more relaxed tempo with some nice swing. I mean, really he just felt so easygoing today. Very settled, very pleasant ride. Actually, today I was riding him around and he was so good from the moment I got on. And it was a beautiful day today in Maryland. The high was in the low 60s, so you're not cold, but it's also cool enough that the horses are comfortable, the bugs aren't bothering you, and it was sunny, and the trees are changing colors. And I know I probably just sound so corny right now, but it was just one of those days when you're just like, oh my God, this is the best day ever. My job is amazing. I'm sitting on this horse who's having his second ride in years and years, and he's just like a model of perfection. He couldn't be better. And it was just like, oh, it was a great ride. Really made me thankful for all the things today. He is so darn steady in that contact. Okay, so here we're going to work on the canter. He does a good canter transition. He just picks up the right lead. I think I ask him one more time to canter here, and here he's doing some nice trot work in between. We get the right lead again. So then I have to kind of decide, how do I want to work this? And I just decided, you know what, let's just work the canter on the lead that he wants to pick up first. So I'm trying to, if I can, do a balanced counter canter and then change across the diagonal, which he's very happy to do. So he feels very settled in the canter, relaxed, steady, and happy in the contact. So then I'm thinking, okay, well, I should probably sit the canter and see how we feel about that. And all the while, I'm very aware of the fact that this horse is not fit at all. So he's not going to be able to sustain, he doesn't have a ton of strength in his top line yet because he really hasn't worked in quite some time. So obviously he broke out of the canter there. So we're going to ask for the canter again. That's the first pole I've asked him to trot over, and it was very graceful. So now we're going to come to these little cavalettis, and we've not even walked over them yet today. So I'm sort of just throwing him right at it, which he found, of course, as I expected he would, kind of shocking, but he was a good boy because he stayed straight, and then he calmly walked over. And then that was much better. We figured out the feet, and then we did a very nice right lead canter transition. And, going over those poles, I'm not necessarily asking him to do a canter transition over the poles. I'm just a huge fan of always incorporating poles. And so I just thought it was a good moment to sort of change the subject a little bit and do something a little bit new. And so I just thought it was a good moment to try trotting over some poles. And if he had happened to pick up the canter over the poles, that's fantastic. But he didn't. And then we did a good canter transition without the poles, and that was fine. And so now I'm just using this moment in the right canter to sit the canter, which he was excellent for. He has a super balanced, comfortable canter. And so that was very good. So then we took a walk break. Okay, so now we're going to end our ride with revisiting the left lead canter. And so I'm thinking at this point that I'm probably going to use the poles in some way to aid get the canter. It would be great if he wanted to trot over the poles and land in the canter. But if that doesn't happen and he trots over the pole or in some way, we end up in the right lead canter, which is obviously the counter canter, I'm going to use the poles to hopefully do a good change. And we're getting better at trotting over poles now. And actually, this is some really nice trot work. He just feels very relaxed and loose. The last thing I want is for them to get anxious about working on a canter transition. So I decide to cut to the chase, pick up the canter, and now we're going to hopefully get our change over the poles. So there, sort of predictably, he's a little bit shocked when we make the turn to the pole, and he's thinking, I'm having my second ride in 4 years. Do you want me to do canter over poles? But I ask again, and sure enough, he rises to the challenge, and he does a really nice change over that Cavaletti. So I'm really quite thrilled with that. That was just a super honest, good horse. And then once we're in the left canter, it feels great. He's very straight between my legs, between my aids. He feels very relaxed in the contact and across his top line. I mean, he's rhythmic. He's like pretty much on cruise control right now. I'm not doing a lot here. I'm kind of just sitting here enjoying it. So then I think, okay, let's work the sitting canter a little bit to the left, and nothing changes. You really couldn't ask for more than this. This horse is just so darn genuine. I actually think, well, his name is Honeysaver. Great, excellent name. I have been calling him Clifford in the barn because he's like the big red dog. I mean, he's just like the sweetest, most lovely horse. And so then here I decide to show how wonderful he is. You can drop the reins, and then he wants to just break to the trot and be done, which he can be because he's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Am I recording? I don't know. I think I'm recording. Oh. 7, you're being a good boy. 17, a good boy. That is being a really good boy. What? Okay, that was very good. That was a very good boy.